In this video, we're going to focus on the image restoration category of Boris FX Continuum inside of Avid Media Composer. So when we start to talk about this category in part A, we're going to look at two machine learning plugins, BCC plus DeNoise ML and BCC plus UpRes ML. Let's dive right in. So to follow along, if you have access to the exercise files, you want to open up the 7A sequence, which you'll find in the sequences bin. Just double click it, and in it, you're going to find a clip called DeNoise that we'll be working with first. Now to take a look at this clip, I'm just going to go into the effect mode for a second because I want to zoom in on the shot even before adding that effect quite a bit, so we can take a good look at the noise that appears on this image. And what we like to do is remove some of this. So this was shot with 2perf film, which is relatively noisy. And if we head into our effects palette, going to BCC image restoration, we'll find our two ML effects here at the top. What we're going to want to focus on is BCC plus DeNoise. So let's drag and drop that to the clip. It's going to take a few seconds to initialize, if not a bit longer, if this is the first time that you're using this effect. But rest assured, the next time that you use BCC UpRes or DeNoise, it's going to be a lot faster to process. So here we can see right now at this zoomed in location that the noise has been removed. And just so we can see it even clearer, I'm going to bypass it. So that's the noise before, and this is with the noise removed. There are two models that we can work with. So we've got compression and noise here, or we can try to remove camera noise instead for a slightly different result. Again, it'll take a few seconds to process once you choose this. I'm going to go back to compression and noise. And keep in mind, you can also always just look at the noise output to see what Continuum is seeing and trying to remove from your shot. I'm going to jump back to output and also just zoom out of my image so that we can see the entire clip. And it's best practice to render out this effect once you're done, or export it out altogether, as these are render intensive effects. Now the next ML effect, called UpRes, has two use cases. One is I just might want to have a zoomed in view of this clip without quality loss. So in this case, I'll continue working. So I'm going to close out BCC DeNoise, and I'm going to now add BCC UpRes. I'm going to option click and drag it. So keep in mind, this is render intensive and I've just stacked it on another effect. So it'll take a while to process, but it will scale up to 200% by default. And we've seen results up to 400% without any quality loss here. Okay, here is the 200% zoomed in view. I'm just going to bypass the denoise filter for the time being, so we can just focus on working with UpRes. And we've got a few controls that we can take advantage of. So as I've noted, the scale is 200%. Let's twirl down the center value here, where I could slide this on both the X and Y axes. In this case, I'll slide it -100 on X. And in a few seconds, we'll be able to see an update of that image. And we should now see that the image shifted -100 pixels. So over to the right in this case with the coordinates that we're using. So the other thing that we can adjust, of course, is a sharpening amount. So we've got Magic Sharp built into this, which is just going to add an extra layer of sharpness to our overall image. We can play around with the radius as well. So I mentioned that this is one use case for UpRes. You've got clips inside your Avid timeline and you'd like to scale them up 200% without quality loss. The other idea is to actually create clips that are double in size that you'd like to export. And for that, we have to actually work within a new project. I'm going to first of all close down this project temporarily. So I'll go to File, Close Project. Now that that's closed, let's create a new project. And in this case, we'll call this project UpRes ML BCC. For our format, we're going to choose an 8K format, 8K Ultra HD, and we want to have a frame rate of 30p. For our color space, let's look down the list and choose an RGB 2020. Everything else is good, so let's choose the Create button. All right, in our new project, there's an important step that we need to take, which is change the way that clips are imported inside of our new Avid project. We don't want them to be scaled up to this raster size. We're going to go to Avid Media Composer Preferences, and under Preferences, just double-click the word Import. It should be set here to do not resize smaller images. By default, this is going to be set to image sized for current format. Let's choose OK and close out these settings. And now that we're here at this bin, we're going to import some media into Avid. You'll have access to a clip called IMG 5387 MOV, which is a UHD clip, 3840 by 2160. We'll open that and let Avid transcode this for our use. We could also just link to it if that's the preferred workflow. Now that that clip is imported into our project, I'm just going to create a new sequence, which we'll call UpRes. And we'll drag this clip into that sequence, noting that it is not as large as it. Let's go into our effect palette, into the same image restoration category, where we'll find BCC plus UpRes ML and drag it onto this shot. Okay, our clip has now been scaled up from Ultra HD now to the just slightly under 8K format. And if we choose, we can just click on the bypass button to see the original size clip and then choose to check off of that so we can see the scaled up version. Again, we can play with the scale of this clip. And in this case, since I want to just zoom in even a bit more, I'm going to make it 230. It will take a while to process and zoom in, but we have these great quality results for your end project. So that's the results of our 230% scale. I could continue to sharpen this if I needed to, but the best practice is once you're done is to export this out to your system, this 8K plate, then you can re-import it back into Avid and work with it in real time. With that said, this brings us to the end of looking at the ML tools in the image restoration category. We'll continue looking at other effects like Beauty Studio, Remover, and Reframer in the next video.